garden of my childhood, I delight in gathering the petals of the loveliest flowers I scattered when my mind was still pure. Everything was like a fairy tale, where the victor was always the one who triumphed through fearless spirit and generosity, and justice always prevailed over human malice. Ah yes, just like in fairy tales, it all dissolved at daybreak. Reality is quite different, yet in the soul of a deep dreamer, there is always room for something that renews itself each day, and forms a bond with those who still believe in fairy tales.
Sergio and Antonia were out for their usual morning walk. As they passed near the preschool, they saw children with their moms and dads heading inside. Her neighbor delighted the blind woman with his characteristic romantic remarks. However, she detected a troubled note in his voice, as if Sergio were harboring something he wanted to express but felt held back from doing so. She was also keenly aware that his breathing was unusually labored. She was tempted to ask if something was wrong and, driven by a long-held desire, to switch to the informal too and grow closer to him. Yet, she was terrified of breaking the spell she shared with this kind neighbor. He had never accepted her invitation to have coffee at her home, so she decided then and there never to ask again. She did not want to sever the bond, sentimental, after all, that connected them. An unbreakable bond, yet a sentimental one nonetheless. That morning, she also, unusually, caught the scent of cigarette smoke coming from him. From him, who normally exuded a pleasant, fresh fragrance, a scent that only a blind woman like her could truly savor and perceive. It was a sublime essence, indescribable to the sighted yet innate to those children of a lesser god who, in all likelihood, already had the gates of paradise open to them. Perhaps they were already experiencing, here on earth, something that was intangible and impossible for the ordinary sighted mortal. All these thoughts, emotions, and premonitions had left the woman utterly exhausted, and she asked Sergio if they could go back inside early. As soon as they reached the front door, the neighbor finally opened up. Antonia realized I was a smoker. I smoked quite a bit this morning, something I never do. I've never liked smoking in the morning, certainly not that much. That's because I didn't like what happened last night at all. What happened? I caught her assistant, Virginia, peeking into my house through the window facing the garden. I was sitting there and clearly saw it was her. When I stood up and went to the window, I saw her running toward her house, and in the streetlight's glow, I noticed her long red hair tied back in a ponytail. Oh my, how embarrassing! Antonia said, covering her face with her hands as if she felt even more ashamed of her assistant's actions than the assistant herself did. Overcome by embarrassment, she couldn't say another word and hurriedly said goodbye to the man. Goodbye, Federico. She closed the door and sat down in the armchair to wait for Virginia. As soon as the assistant entered the house, she greeted Antonia and immediately noticed that she returned the greeting with a scoop and her arms crossed. However, she didn't make much of the attitude. She was used to dealing with Antonia's sudden mood swings, even over trifles, which were vastly amplified by her difficult situation. So, Virginia briskly put away the groceries and knelt before the young woman, gently stroking her hands. I wonder who that mysterious benefactor could be, Antonia, the one who gifted you this beautiful apartment surrounded by nature, even convincing you to leave Piacenza, and who also bestowed enough money upon you to live in comfort. I'm starting to suspect it's our neighbor Sergio, don't you think? Doesn't it seem suspicious, all this kindness he shows you, yet is careful to keep his distance at the same time? I really don't think so, Virginia. That benefactor, who, according to the notary, was very close to my poor mother and cares deeply about me but prefers to remain anonymous, is certainly not Sergio. Antonia replied in an annoyed tone. Pulling her hands away from the assistants, she continued, raising her voice. Do you realize what you did last night? What asterisk did asterisk I do, exactly? Virginia replied, springing to her feet. Her face had turned as red as a tomato, though Antonia couldn't see it. You know perfectly well what, the young woman exclaimed, her voice growing louder. Overcome with shame, the assistant said nothing more and set about doing the housework. Antonia shook her head bitterly, biting her thin lips.
Meanwhile, in a dimly lit room of his apartment, Sergio was dancing in front of a large mirror, wearing a low front-wide mask and holding a hatchet in his right hand.